Hey, what's up, folks? T-Break here. I want to revisit this build, the strength stacking Berserker with volcanic fissure of snaking. Um, made a couple improvements, made a couple of updates, and I just wanted to get everyone aligned on how this build works. So you can start this off with like somewhere around like 20 divines, and once you start, once you get there, you start to run some strats, you can get more currency, you can pour more currency into it. It scales really nicely up until like one mirror. Now there are variants that push beyond one mirror, but I'm trying to keep this a bit more accessible, keep this a bit more reasonable. So if you got a berserker laying around, right, I would recommend you definitely give this a shot because it's fully viable for T17 risk strategies, and you can make a lot of currency doing those. So if you've never played a strength stacker before, the base of it is replica Alberon's Warpath. Now this grants us 1 to 80 chaos damage to attacks per 80 strength, right? So if you get 40 strength, it's not going to give you anything, but every breakpoint of 80, it's going to give us a whole bunch of flat damage. And then we're going to take this node right here, where strength's damage bonus applies to all spell damage as well. And then we got the Crown of Eyes. So increases and reductions of spell damage also apply to attacks. So now our strength, because normally it only applies to melee physical damage, it's going to also apply to all of our attacks, and in particular our chaos damage attacks. We got the Iron Fortress, gives us a whole bunch of flat strength, and it also gives us an extra 1.5 multiplier, where you see it says strength damage bonus instead grants 3% increased melee phys per 10 strength, right? Very good. And then we got Wrathpith Globe, which gives 5% increased spell damage per 100 player maximum life. So we get a lot of life from all of our strength and all of our life, increased life nodes. And this gives us even more damage, right? So it's a very, very strong build. Now, update the POB. I got a whole bunch of notes and stuff down here for it. We're looking at 51.5 million DPS at full rage stacks and wither and despair on like a pinnacle boss, so very, very good. And it should be effortless, right? It should be pretty straightforward. As far as the rest of the items go, though, we're gonna go for Eyes of the Great Wolf, right? I chose this over Simplex Amulet because it's way more affordable, and honestly, it's a bit better, right? So you're gonna get almost the same amount of increased attributes. It's 45% increased strength effectively on a simplex, but they cost like a mirror, right? And also you get all of this increased max life, which IMO goes a lot farther when you're running risk strategies. Having a big life pool just makes everything work way better. For your rings, you can go really any ring, like that's just like a normal rare ring with strength, life, and resist. You're gonna want the -7 to mana cost so that our war cries are free, right? 0 cost on them. And one of your rings is gonna have chaos res, and then a high normal res, and then the other ring is just gonna have 2 high reses. Your belt, you can start off with a rare, synthesized, implicit, increased strength belt with life and resistances, and then eventually once you get the money for it, you're going to want to pick up that mage blood. Your gloves, very simple, life, chaos res, attack speed, and strength, and then you want to get those 2 implicits. It's just like a filler item, really, nothing special happening here. With Brightbeak, before I was running Soul Taker, but I found Brightbeak to be better because we can negate our mana costs using life tap support, and then we just get more attack speed, right? So this has like a 2.21 attack speed. That's very fast, and it makes it so that we don't really need a lot of attack speed nodes anywhere else because it's a Warcry build. You don't want to be attacking too fast, and it gives us a bunch of resistances for free, right? The fire res and lightning res, it's actually quite helpful, not gonna lie. For our tinctures, or tinctures and flasks, we got Grasping Nightshade. So this is going to help us inflict 3 wither debuffs on every hit, and Volcanic Fissure hits 3 times when you're bossing per attack. So you're going to be able to get like the full extent of the wither debuff on them. And this, I found, this is a huge DPS bump, and also because it's a tincture, and once you get mage blood, you don't have to worry about like the meteors hitting you whenever you use a flask. Like that mod just becomes free. And we just have a silver flask with increased shock effect, or with a chance to avoid being shocked. You combine that with, where is it? Where's my Storm Shroud? Is it here? Nope. There it is, Storm Shroud. You basically become ailment immune with this. Now, the Corrupted Blood version of this costs like 100 divine. It's quite expensive. You don't need it. Try to get corrupt. You can just get Corrupted Blood like on a rare jewel. Instead of taking like Emperor's Might. Just get a normal corrupted blood jewel, and then once you get the money for it, go for that. Get your Emperor's Might. We've got Curse Immunity on our Quicksilver Flask. We've got just a bunch of armor on this guy, and then we got the Bismuth Flask with the craft, so just a whole bunch of LE resistances, and then the damage taken from hits is leached as life during effect. This is particularly notable because of how it scales with this, right? 30% of life leech is instant. It feels very good. If you're not sure where you can get this, by the way, it's just like right here, right? So you just need an increased effect, right? You get that, and then you just craft this on. Very simple, very straightforward. As for the rest of our jewels, we've got a Lethal Pride. This gives us increased strength on all these nodes. Very good. There's two other numbers, but this is all in the notes in the POB, so make sure you check that out. But yeah, it's like I think I picked this up for like 3 divines. It's very affordable, right? There's lots of them. As for our cluster jewels, right, pretty straightforward. We're going to prioritize for one of them increased effect, all attributes, strength, and a max life. That's the order and progression you want to go when you're buying them. And then for the other one, you want to go increased effect, T1 chaos res, strength, and max life, right? That T1 chaos res, very helpful, gets us to 67% chaos res. If I took the rest of these, I would be chaos capped, but I found that going for these extra life nodes around here just helped a lot more with surviving in the very difficult maps. And overall, that is the tree. Those are the items. I'm gonna quickly hover over the links and supports. Now, in the POB, I don't have faster casting and increased area of effect. These two are kind of whatever. Instead, I wanted to make sure that there's space for people to put their portal gem and cast on death. So yeah, that's kind of up to you if you want to swap those out. We have momentum support, faster attacks, leap slam, life tap over here, infernal cry, battle mage's cry, auto exertion, blood and sand, temporal rift, auto exertion, intimidating cry, rallying cry, and seismic cry on our boots. And then for our weapon or our chest slot, we got the snaking, we got overexertion, life tap, pulverize, awaken void manipulation, and volatility. So pretty straightforward. Now I'm going to do a quick map showcase. We got a map put together here. Go ahead and run Abyss. Now I will do an updated video on the strategy for this. But for now, let's just hop in the map. So we're about around like 8 minutes into the video. We're going to see how fast it takes us to clear this map. Generally speaking, I'm able to do these maps in about 8 minutes, somewhere around there. Sometimes a bit less, sometimes a bit more, but it seems like a pretty easy map, so it shouldn't be too tough. And yeah, a pretty straightforward build. The volcanic fissure is honestly amazing. Definitely one of my most favorite skills to use. During Settlers League, I went lightning strike instead, and it was nowhere near as seamless as this is, right? But due to the nature of how it works, it just clears the map on its own, and that, in my opinion, makes it so much better than a variety of other skills. As you see, we just melted the Mercenary. We're going. Getting lots of loot. Yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. Hit that node. So as you can see, everything's kind of just melting, like a lot of times without us even directly engaging in with the enemies. You know, they're kind of just dropping dead, and so we're able to focus on just dodging stuff and picking up the loot, right? and not having to pay attention to like hitting our attack. Yeah, very helpful, very nice. Okay, we're gonna let that spawn the altars. Let's hop over to the boss. About 10 minutes and a quarter in. Alright, and when he's doing this attack, what you can do is you can just sit right on the edge. If you're far back enough, you can just dodge everything. Most everything. A couple attacks might sneak through. Yeah, it took about 30-ish something seconds. So we do have 100% more monster life, and bosses increased life as well. So, good bit of life on this guy. Steady going. Okay, containment. It's interesting because this is a more currency map, but we're just dropping nice scarabs instead. Happens like that sometimes. Not too shabby. Push through. So yeah, on a map like this, you see our life pool not really even going down, and when it does go down, I mean, instantly goes right back up. Wait for this guy to spawn. Pretty good stuff. Very seamless. Now, some maps you're really gonna have to dial in and focus, but a lot of maps, especially if you aren't doing 4 risk, you're doing just 3. I find you can just kind of coast, kind of autopilot. Just focus on getting the loot. You're gonna take that the minus res node. So yeah, even when I get that, it's like around 57. I still get lightning capped, cold res, a little bit to be desired. But you know, we run maps with minus 37 on it. Just fine, no problemo. There is a variant, I do want to say, there is a variant that I saw. I had a buddy show it to me. Where they were running a mirrored scepter and the squire instead, and they're reaching like 200 million DPS and going like a crit version of the build. That does seem promising, but also, I mean, you gotta spend like a mirror just on the scepter and whatnot. And I think his rings were all helical rings, fractured and everything, so a lot more expensive. Probably looking at like 2 mirrors to transition to a crit version of this build, and it's a lot more difficult to gear for. This version of the build, it should be very accessible, right? All the items can be easily found on the market, and especially once you get enough currency, which you will in no time. That was kind of like the downside of the Soul Taker version. There just weren't enough Soul Takers up up on trade, you know, like with the Fortify Corrupt. All right, and that's the map. 23 monsters left. So we're looking at now it's about 15 minutes. So about 8 minutes for the run. Now, real quick, do want to show my mercenary. All he's got is like a Greed's Embrace, right? Venter's Gamble, just a bunch of item rarity. Helmet and Boots are rare with Chaos Res and Life and a whole bunch of rarity as well. Defiance of Destiny, because really the goal is to just keep him alive. Kineticist with Haste aura is I found that to be like pretty good. I think there is a world you could swap over to like maybe another one that's a bit better. Maybe like a mercenary that gives like a determination or something. But really, this has been just fine, especially for like survivability and whatnot. To surrender, just a little bit more life when you block. You know, a bit more defenses. Calm's Binding converts enemy physical damage to fire, so a bit more damage reduction there. The wand doesn't matter. The wand I felt like it could be kind of whatever. Now I will say there's an interesting interaction between Gravebind and Disanointment, right? So Blood Drinker recover 2% of life on kill, and Gravebind and nearby enemies killed by anyone counts as being killed by you instead. So the nice thing about this is that if your mercenary is near you and you're just killing stuff, they're just constantly healing, even if nothing's attacking them, right? So pretty nice in that regard to just try to keep him alive, because yeah, if he dies, you're just getting less loot, you know, it's even negative, right? So that's kind of what I optimized for with this mercenary layout. Pretty vanilla though, otherwise. And that should be it for the video. The POB is going to be in the description. The Atlas strategy is going to be posted in the description, but we're gonna make another video on it because I made some changes, made some updates, found some ways to get some more currency out of it. Same with the item filter. And if you like this video, give it a like. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe to see more content like this, covering like Path of Exile and action RPGs as a whole. And I appreciate you guys for watching. All right, take care.